Good morning. Thank you for joining me once again for another exciting episode of Maximizing Your Impact with Dr. Maxwell Ubah. I'm glad today that I'll be bringing something special, something revolutionary, something transformational in your life. Today we'll start the journey to success, to greatness, to fulfillment, to accomplishing your widest dreams. Today is like the takeoff point to greatness. So please invite your friends, invite your family members to join this episode. This is about 45 minutes maximum, 30 to 45 minutes maximum. It's a series that I'm running every Saturday to help individuals become better, to accomplish their dreams and their goals. So please tell me your name. Let me welcome you. I can see some people. Tell me your name, and it'll be nice for me to welcome you for joining me on today's episode. We are starting a journey today. I'll be teaching on the 7 foundational beliefs that you need to achieve your widest dreams. I'll tell you 5 things your beliefs can do for you, 5 things. Then today I will reveal the most important belief system that you need to have. That's the number 1. There are 7 we're going to cover, but the number 1 is the foundation. You understand? I know they are all foundational. Okay, thank you, Obina. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. I know they are all important, but this number 1 is actually the most difficult. Is the most difficult belief system. But once you get it, get this one, the other 6 becomes a lot easier. So thank you once again for joining me this morning. My name is Dr. Maxwell Ubah, and goodness, thank you. Okay, I know, my friend, thank you. And thank you. So some people, I'll do an introduction later. Last week, I started with that your widest dreams are achievable. That was what I said last week. And for me, it was a revelational message last week, transformational message last week. You know what I did? I wrote down my goals for the second half of this year. And as I wrote down the goals, you know, when you read books on success, they'll tell you, write down your goals. When we teach success, we tell people, what are your goals? Write down your goals. As I wrote down my goals for the second half and over the next 5 years, I just found out that, and I stretched it. I stretched it. In fact, some of the goals were like at 10x, some of them were at 100x. You understand? Over the next 5 years, at 100x. And when I looked at the goals that I wrote, it just dawned on me. I came to the realization that my 100x goals over the next 5 years are some people's reality right now. 100x are some people's reality. Wow. And for me was the deal breaker. That was for me was the turning point. That for me, like the prodigal son, was the coming to realization moment that this is achievable. Because if what you are trusting God, expecting to accomplish over the next 5 years, that you have even multiplied by 100 times from your starting point as some people's past, then your 5-year widest dreams are not difficult to accomplish. So that was what I covered last week. And if you missed it, I want you to go back to that video and watch the video, because that's the foundation. So now, what are the belief systems that would enable us to accomplish our widest dreams? Your 10x or your 100x, as the case may be. You know, like an architect, you know that the most important part of a building, yes, the beauty of the building is nice. Sometimes we see some buildings and they are amazing and the rest, but if there's a structural defect to that building, then it becomes it's useless. It's useless, like a carcass that is beautiful on the inside but dead, you understand, and rotting on the inside. Now the foundation is what determines how high that building will go. And if you look at the building on the sand and building on the rock parable, you find out that people have 2 kinds of foundation. That the master did not tell us the difference in the quality of the house. The external structure of the guy who built on the sand might even look better, but when the storms came, when the rain came, because he built on the sand without a solid foundation, he collapsed, he crumbled. Now the difference has nothing to do with the external environment. Now, the elements, the rain, the storms, and the rest, both of them experienced it, but one succeeded, one stood the test of time, and the other failed. And the difference is in the foundation. In this case, I'm talking about 40 belief systems, the guy who built on sand, and the right belief system, the guy who built on rock. There are people whose belief system are like they are building on sand, and it's just a matter of time they will end in a catastrophe. So our outcomes in life is not determined by external events, or even the quality of material. In that case, is determined by the foundation, and we are talking about your belief system. So your beliefs determine your outcome. So this morning, in order to make it simple, I want to give you 5 things that your beliefs would affect. I'll talk about what a belief is, but I want you to see 5 things that a belief would affect, and then I want to reveal to you what is the most important belief system that you need to have. So belief is the foundation. It's like building on the rock, you understand, and it helps us weather the storm. 5 things that your beliefs would affect. The first that your belief would affect is your attitude. That's the first thing that your beliefs affect. Your attitude has been defined as your disposition, how you see life. You understand, we covered a series on attitude and the power of attitude, that the first thing your belief system affects is your attitude. So your belief system is the lens through which you see life, is the lens through which you look at life. What you believe about life will determine how you engage life. So the first thing it will affect is your attitude. So when somebody has a wrong attitude, at the heart of it, it's a wrong belief system. That's the first thing your belief would affect. The second thing, and which is amazing, is your emotions. We teach emotional intelligence. You understand? We've done this over and over and over and over again. At the heart of your emotions, it's your belief system. Your belief system affects how you feel about the world, about others, and about yourself. Now, get that. Your belief system affects how you feel about the world, about others, and about yourself. So how you feel about the world generally, you understand. There are people that have this pessimistic mindset. They feel that the world is against them. They are very paranoid. How you feel about the world, how you feel about others. People are stupid, people are useless, people are nice, people are kind-hearted, people cannot be trusted. You understand how you feel about others. Today in America, racism, it's one major divide in America. It's at the foundation of people's belief system that color is important. Remember what Martin Luther King says, that my 4 little children should not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. That's his belief system. And how you feel about yourself. So your self-esteem, whether you are happy with yourself, whether you are sad with yourself, how you feel about yourself, you understand, it's determined by your belief system. I don't want to go into all that, but I just want you to see that your belief will affect your attitude, number one. Your belief will affect your emotions. How you feel about situations, yourself, and others. It's your belief will affect. And number 3 here is that your beliefs also have a role to play in your health. There have been studies, medical studies, to show that drugs are not as powerful without the right belief system. They've given people placebos. They've done different kinds of experiments to show people that the drugs are important, but the belief in recovery is far more important than even the drugs. So the third thing here, health recovery, is also a function of belief. An experiment was done. Let me say this experiment. I read it in the book, and it says what they decided to do. This was not placebo. They called students and divided them into 2 groups. So they 100. And what they said to them, so they have a blue tablet, a red tablet. Let's forget the color. But in tablet A is a barbiturate, something like, let's call it a sleeping tablet in tablet A. In tablet B is an amphetamine, like caffeine, you understand, something that is a stimulant. So you have a sleeping tablet and you have a stimulant. So to the group that they are giving a sleeping tablet, notice the constituent, the chemical constituent was a sleeping tablet. To the group that they are giving the sleeping tablet, they told them that this is a stimulant, and so it will keep you awake. Now, to the group that they are giving the stimulant, they told them that this is the sleeping tablet. This is not placebo. So they are giving you a stimulant, You understand? But they told you it's a sleeping tablet. Why they are giving you a sleeping tablet, and they told you that this is a stimulant. And what they wanted to see is which one is more powerful, the chemical constituent of the drug, or what people believe that the drug would do in their situation and in their circumstances. And guess what? To the group that they gave the sleeping tablet but told that it was a stimulant, some of them never fell asleep. In fact, over half of them never fell asleep. Same to the other group. And they came to the conclusion that more powerful than even the chemical constituent is what you believe. Think about it. Some of the drugs that we take, we don't even know what it is, but we believe that the doctor's recommendation and our faith makes that drug works. Healing begins to start with our faith. The fourth thing that your belief would affect is that it will affect your actions. You understand? Somebody said that no man can climb above the limitations of his own character. I say here, no man can climb above the limitations of his own belief. The boundaries of behaviors are governed by your belief. So your actions, what you do in any given situation or circumstance is actually determined by what you believe. So if you believe that somebody is against you, you want to fight back, you want to go, but that's what you believe. But if you believe that, oh, this person made an innocent mistake, how you respond is a function of what you believe. So your actions are determined by your belief. And the final, number 5 here, is that your performance or your result, because actions ultimately is what gives birth to results. So your performance, your result is actually determined by your belief system. So if you must change your result, it starts with changing what you believe about situation, yourself, circumstance, life in general. That's the starting point. So I've given you 5 things that your beliefs would affect. So I think as it can be so loaded that, and sometimes people say, my wife tells me, gives me feedback that you speak fast. Take it easy. So let me pause and go back again and say, what are the 5 things that your beliefs would affect? Number 1, your attitude. Number 2, your emotions. Number 3, your health. Number 4, so your actions. Number 5, performance. And look at it, your marriage, everything about you. We've covered every area. Let me say one more thing here. For those of us that are spiritual, beliefs are more powerful than prayers. We pray, I see people every morning, they shout amen, they do this, we pray. We can't fault Nigerians and Africans for praying. But the question you should ask is, are we seeing the result? For me, you understand, are you seeing the results? That's the question you should ask. He said, to him that believeth, all things are possible. Not to him that prays, to him that believes, all things. So if you pray and do not believe, you just wasted time. So it believes, what you believe about God, you understand, without faith it's impossible to please God. For he that comes to God must believe that he is, and he's a rewarder of them that diligently. He said, if you lack wisdom, you should ask. But let that man ask in faith without doubting. But if he doubts, it's like the wave of the sea that distorts. And let that man who doubts, who does not believe, think he would ever receive anything from God. So beliefs are more powerful than even prayer. So if you don't believe, don't bother praying. You understand? You're just wasting your time. Because what God looks at is not what you're saying. What God looks at is the spirit, the heart. Do you actually believe? And so many times we read in a good book, in the scriptures, that the master will ask the blind man, do you believe I am able to do this? You understand? He say, yes, according to your faith. According to your faith. Not even my ability this time, but according to your faith. So what we receive of God from God is a function of our belief system. Having said that, so what are beliefs? So let's try and define it. A simple definition is what you hold to be true. That's a simple definition, what you hold to be true. And the curious thing about that, notice what I said, so beliefs are personal, is what you hold to be true. The curious thing about belief system is that they don't have to be true, so to speak, but because you believe them to be true. So you can actually believe a lie, but you hold that lie to be the truth, and that lie begins to govern everything. That once you accept it as your truth, they become your umpire. You understand? Directing every action, directing everything that you do. true. So what you hold to be true. So we need to ask ourselves the things that we hold to be true about success, about life, about our marriage. So let me give you a typical example. I remember somebody once said, a lady said, all men cheat. And I said to the lady, that cannot be true. He said, all men cheat. I said, how can you say all men cheat? He said, all men cheat. I said, well, that's your word. You understand? In my word, all men do not cheat. And if you hold that all men cheat, you'll be very suspicious of your spouse, of this. You want to quickly check the phone and the rest, because what you hold to be true is that all men cheat. But is it the truth? There are men that have lived 60 years in marriage, 50 years in marriage, and they never cheated on their wife. There are men that married even as virgin and never cheated. So we could go into that debate, but what you hold to be true, simply maybe because you've seen one man cheat, and what you've done is that you've used generalization. And so it's like today they say all Igbos are, all Yorubas are, all Hausas are, all Fulanis are, all blacks are. Now, what you hold to be true might not be the truth. When I teach personal transformation, I remember 2 years ago I did a seminar on personal transformation, and someday we'll do another seminar. And I said at the heart of every negative behavior is a lie believed by that person, you understand, as the person's own truth. At the heart of every negative behavior is a lie believed to be the truth. When Eve took the fruit to eat, she believed that the fruit will make her wise. She believed it, that it will make her wise. It will give her wisdom. You understand? She believed it. But what she believed was a lie. So at the heart of every behavior, whether it's reaching out to steal, whether it's reaching out, you understand, to come to work too late, whether it's reaching out and not, just we can extend it. That fruit, you understand, at the heart of every negative behavior is somebody that has believed a lie. And at the heart of every failure is somebody that has believed a lie. So this series is trying to correct the lies that people have believed. So I say here also, what you hold to be true is your belief. But I want to give you like two subdivisions. It's your internal dialogue, the things you say to yourself. You understand? So that's what you believe. You can see somebody and greet the person. You understand? Good morning, sir. Good morning, man. But in your heart, you say to yourself, stupid man, useless woman. We understand. How did I come to this organization or something? So what you're saying to yourself, not what you're saying outside, is what you truly believe about the situation. So I can be in a meeting and I'm not saying anything outside. Maxwell, how are you? I'm fine. Don't you have anything to say? No. But internally, I am saying things to myself. My internal dialogue, the rationalizations that I give, the justifying excuses that I give on the inside. Sometimes I say it out, sometimes I don't say it. So your beliefs are your internal dialogue, the conclusions that you reach concerning event. Finally, about belief, then I talk to you about the most important belief. Yes, I like teaching with acronyms. So for most times when I teach, to keep things simple, I like teaching with acronyms. So as I was thinking about these beliefs, I found out that, you understand, another way to look at beliefs are like your GO. In this part of the world, we are very religious. There's a difference between spiritual and religious. We're very religious. And so we have general overseers, you understand. And the general overseer, just like the word, is the one that oversees everything that happens in that organization. So here, your belief is like your general overseer. But your GO, for me, is not general overseer. Yes, it's an acronym. It's actually a governing and organizing principle. Your belief is a governing. It governs. You understand? Everybody is under the rule of his or her belief system. Never forget this. Everybody is under a rule of your belief system. It governs everything. It organizes. You understand? It's a governing and organizing principle. If you believe that information is power, how you go about life, how you treat life, how you engage life will be different. Your governing and your organizing principle is your belief system. Then you can actually call it also, for those of us that are military inclined, For those of us that are military inclined, you can call it your commanding officer. You understand? Your commanding officer. You understand? It commands every action that you take. It determines your boundaries of behavior. I don't want to spend so much time again on beliefs because there's so much to teach. I just needed this as the foundation. There are other laws that are attached to beliefs. For example, the law of expectation is attached to your belief. What you believe is what you expect. In fact, studies have shown that the mind right now, you understand, based on certain experiences, the mind acts not based on the event that is coming, but based on what it expects to happen. So let me talk about right and wrong beliefs, and I reveal my first belief. There is the foundation of success. Now, I don't want to debate which is right, which is wrong. You understand? In religion, we can debate that. I'm talking about success. I'm talking about life in general here. And for me here, what is wrong or what is right in terms of belief is the belief that empowers you to be your best without violating the right of others. That's a right belief. Does it empower you to be your best? Does it make you a better person? You understand? And at that point, as it empowers you to be your best, it doesn't violate the right of others. That's for me what a right belief is. So any belief that takes the wind off your sail, any belief that removes from you the energy to give life your best is a wrong belief. That's for me right and wrong belief in that context. So let me reveal my first, and this belief for me, it was a mental shift. In one of my books, The Amazing Scandal of Grace, I wrote something, you understand? And as I saw this belief, I said, wow, you understand? And for me, it was the most difficult of the 7. The other 6 is something that I think we can relate to them. We can agree easily, but this is difficult. And so I want to put the most difficult belief system out there. And once we can sort this out, then the other 6 we can. You know, it's like a plane to take off. I hear that. I don't know how true, but I read this, that when a rocket takes off, it consumes more fuel in the first 3 minutes of taking off than in the entire flight. You understand? More fuel in the first 3 minutes. So that energy that it consumes in order for it to take off, you understand? And once it takes off, that's the result is simple. So if you get this belief, I think that the remaining 6 will be so easy. So what is belief number 1? The most difficult, but the very, very foundational belief of system. You know, and this is it. You know, sometimes when we look at life, we come to the conclusion that life is not fair. You understand? Sometimes when we look at life, we come to the conclusion that life is not fair. You understand? Is it fair that some professional footballers earn £200,000 a week when some PhD holders do not even earn up to £50,000 a year? You understand? Is it fair that counselors in Nigeria earn sometimes far more than what professors earn, and some of the counselors did not even go to school? You understand? So if you look at different departments of life, you come to that conclusion that life is not fair. Now, but you see, and I'm sure that you and you've come to that point in your life where you believed that life is not fair. But belief number 1 goes against this beliefs, this notion, this thought, this idea. And what is belief number 1? It is this: life is fair. It favors no one, nor does it treat anyone. Wow, life is fair. Wow. When I realized this, it deflated a lot of things that I have believed, because I have believed that life is not fair. And so hold on, just hold on. Life is fair is belief number 1. It favors no one. Life doesn't favor anybody. See, now somebody would, I know that for every principle there's an exception. So let's say, for example, there are certain things we might not be able to explain. Sometimes some people are born with congenital deformities. It has nothing to do with them. I understand that. Born with Down syndrome, born with different. I understand that. At least the good book in Deuteronomy 29:29 answered that the secret things belongs to God. The things that are revealed to us. There are some things that only God knows, but there are certain things that have been revealed. So we're not looking at those exceptions. People that are born with Down syndrome and born with all that. But even at that, you understand, even with that, You see certain people who are born with a lot of disadvantages, and yet they have succeeded in life. In spite of, despite, with the disadvantages, they succeeded in life. So take Stevie Hardaway Morris, which is called Stevie Wonder. Now, he was born a bit early, you understand, premature, and he was put in the incubator. And the light of the incubator made him legally blind. Now, blindness could have been an excuse for failure. Blindness could have been an excuse for failure. But today, Stevie Wonder is a global phenomenon with his blindness. Have there been people with physical deformities, infirmities, challenges, difficulties who succeeded in spite of? And the answer is yes. So I said, whatever happened before you were born has nothing to do with you. But whatever happened after you were born has everything to do with you. And life is fair. Just follow me. Follow me this morning. Life is fair. Alexander Graham Bell, I think, is somebody that we need to pay attention to. He's the man that gave us the telephone, and from there, every improvement, you understand. Alexander Graham Bell gave us the telephone. He says a man, a woman, a person, as a general rule, owes very little to what he's born with. Owes very little to what he's born with. A man is what he makes himself. You understand? There are people who have been born with certain disadvantages, and they rose to the very top. They rose to the very top of the corporate ladder. One of my big bosses, you understand, I think he might be even on this call, is from Akwa Ibom, if I'm right, and he says his people serve tea in the office. But today, you understand, he was CEO of Samsung, he was executive director of Cadbury, you understand. So how come one person from the same environment succeeded and the others are struggling? Now, that's the first principle that you need to understand. Because once you understand that life is fair, you understand that your results are a reflection of some of the actions or the inactions that you've taken or you've refused to take in the past. So let's go back to the example of a PhD holder, you understand, earning $50,000 or pounds and a footballer, you understand, earning, you understand. Why you might say it is not fair? In the realm of football, £200,000 is fair. In fact, £200,000 is small. Some people earn 350, some people. But I want you to imagine how many years it took some of those people earning £200,000 to have gotten to that particular point. So is it fair in the field of football to earn £200,000? And the answer is yes. Someday, as we move in this series, I will tell you why a footballer earns £200,000 a week and the professor cannot earn that. And I will explain it with a concept as we move on. But just understand this. I have a little daughter. Let me explain this, and you can appreciate this. I have a little daughter, and sometimes they have their own television. I'm watching my own, and she will come downstairs and says, "Daddy, change it to channel 3 this." And I said, "But I'm watching football. This is the Euros." He said, "You always like watching football. Daddy, change it." I said, "Please, but go upstairs and watch it." He said, "Daddy," I said, sometimes I will change. Sometimes I say, "I will not change. I need to watch the game of football." And when I say I will not change, usually she will say to me, "It is not fair." Notice that word, it is not fair. Now, it is not fair from her perspective because she didn't get what she wanted. But to me, who is watching football, it is very, very fair. You have your own, I have my own. Think about it. Every time, the people who say life is not fair, I'm not using my data, I just brought that as an excuse so that you can understand that. The people who say life is not fair, look at it very well again. Every time they say that, I'm yet to see a very successful man who say life is not fair. Most of the times when we say life is not fair, are the people that are struggling, are the people that did not get what they wanted. You understand? Those are the people that will say life is not fair. To the man who is successful, to the man who is breaking bad, to the man who is going from one success to the other, he believes that life is fair. He or she believes that life is fair. That what I am getting is a true reflection of the effort that I'm putting in. So if you are not getting, if you don't understand this concept, you will blame life. But the man that is successful believes that life Life is very fair. That's why I got an A. You will not see somebody with a distinction says it was not fair that I came out with a distinction. The person that would say that it's not fair is the person that came out maybe with a pass, or the person that did not graduate from school that will blame the university. But the guy who came out with a distinction, the guy whose company has gone from local to international, will tell you that life is indeed fair. So I need you to understand that life is fair. It favors no one. You understand? Somebody will say, but this goes against some of the things we teach in Christianity. This is not a church. But 4 weeks ago, I spoke to my people in church, and I asked them, the title of the message is this: if God is a constant, why are our results different? If God is a constant, God is a constant, because we know that every good and perfect gift comes from Him. He says, from the Father of light, with Him there is no variation. No variation means God does not change. No variation means that God is a constant. So if God is a constant, why are our results different? If two people attend the same ministry, the same church, and they hear the same message, why do they get different results? Then it is no longer, you understand, say it's God favored this person, God did not favor this person. There's certain things that you did or did not do. That's why one person is succeeding and the other person that is not succeeding. To the person that is succeeding, life is fair. To the person that is not succeeding, life is not fair. Belief number one says life is fair. Life is fair. So life is like an examiner. If you give me what I want, I will give you the score that I have for that particular exam. You know, somebody, I was told this on a lighter note. You understand? This was the guy had studied. It was a Bible, Christian religious knowledge, Bible knowledge, you understand, exam. The guy had studied about Paul, because he thought that the examiner would ask the question about Paul. But the question came about the person of Jesus. Excuse me. And he said to the examiner, I am not worthy to write about the person of Jesus. I am not worthy. Permit me to write about the person of Paul. And he wrote about the person of Paul. And the examiner looked at him and wrote back and said, I am not worthy to give you the mark reserved for the person of Jesus. I will give you the mark reserved for Paul. And that's what it is. That's how life is. Life is fair. If you give me what I want, if you give life what life wants, life would give you back what you understand, will give you back what you want. So those days in school, you understand, I remember when you finish some exam, when you finish some exam, you'll tell you, when they ask you, say, wow, I have finished them. That's what you say, wow. In fact, I finished them. But when you see the score, you say, hey, some of people say they finished me. Now, the reason for they finished me is because you did not give life what life is asking you. Now, if you understand that life is fair, all things being equal, where you are and what you have is a reflection of the decisions and the actions that you have taken. Life is fair. Where you are, all things being equal. And I will explain that as I move on, why I have supposed to make this, I have 10 more minutes. All things being equal. Belief number one says, if I see somebody succeeding, you understand, I need to ask myself, what is this person doing differently from me? You understand? That's what is this person doing differently. I don't just discount it. I say, don't mind. No. It's just something else this person is doing. Then when I find what the person is doing, the question I want to ask myself, is this something I want to do based on my values and the rest? No, I don't. Okay, but this person is doing something to have gotten to where some of us might say we might not be able to do it. Now, I'm not talking about the boundaries of morality. You understand? There are certain things you know that these people, I can't do that because of what I believed. But in that realm, those people have done some things in order to get to that point. And in that realm, what they have done, you understand, is, I'm not justifying it, is wrong because of so many things. But in that realm, that is what is the requirement for some people. For some of us here, is the price that we need to pay in order to get to the top. Henry Longfellow says that the height by which great men attained were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions were sleeping, were toiling upwards at night. So somebody is sleeping sleeping, another person is toiling upwards at night, and so when the result comes, you say, oh, life is not fair. Oh, you call the uninitiated uses this word. They use luck. You understand? They use luck. They use DNA. They say they use luck. They use DNA. Okay, no. He was born with it. Oh, he was lucky. How come lazy people are never lucky? How come lazy people are never lucky? Have you ever asked yourself that question? That lazy people are never lucky. That the people who are lucky are people who work, who engages their energy, their efforts, who show up every day. And by showing up every day, a customer walked into their office and that customer gave them the breakthrough that they needed. And you say that is luck. You forget that he was showing up every day. Now, let me end this. When you believe life is fair, there are three other things that are at the heart of that, three sub-bullet points. First thing you will do is that you stop discounting people's success as luck. That's the first thing. You stop discounting it as luck. You understand? Luck insults the years of hard work that people have put to get there. Was it luck that made Joseph prime minister? Luck discounts the years of hard work. Was it luck that made Bill Gates the richest man in the world, or Amazon? You forget that Jeff Bezos was actually working as an analyst in an investment bank when he saw that an article that the internet would explode over 2,000% in the next 10 years in the 1980s. And he said to himself that if the internet will explode over 2,000% over the next 10 years, there must be money to be made. And he resigned. He resigned and went full scale. Was it luck that he left a job? You understand? Left a job, you understand, to plow himself. And today he's the richest man in the world. Was it luck? The years of hard work, the years of facing bankruptcies, declaring losses, was it luck? And so at the end of the day, it just insults the years of hard work that people have put to get there. It makes people passive and lazy. And by the way, there have been more millionaires made from hard work. You understand? Either starting from their own business than playing the lottery. Even playing the lottery is not luck. There's an element of luck, but you paid for it. But more millionaires have been made from working, from entrepreneurship than from playing the lottery. So that's the first thing that happens when you believe that life is fair. You stop discounting success as luck. Because if success is luck, then there's really nothing I can do to shape, to define, to redirect my success. The second thing that happens is that you stop excusing your failures and blaming others for your performance. Life is fair. Do you understand? Yes, the government, for example, might not have been good. There might have been some challenges and all that. But even in spite of the difficulties of the environment, are there people succeeding? And the answer is yes. And so stop excusing your failures. Stop excusing your failures and blaming others for your performance is the second thing that happens. And number three here is that you will learn to take control. When you believe that life is fair, there are only two things that you need to do, which is learn to take control. And the two things here are patience or pivoting. What do I mean, patience or pivoting? If life is fair and life rewards us based on our effort and our diligence. Now, patience says, I am doing the right thing. It's a matter of time. My results will show. Now, so you need to ask yourself, am I doing the right thing? Is it the right thing for me to do? Once you settle in your heart that I'm doing the right thing, then patience says you need to wait, because you know that life will reward you. Pivoting says, I can't continue like this. That if I continue like this, I will go bankrupt. So I need to change. That's pivoting. The only two things you need to do. You continue as is. You understand? You continue as is when you're sure that you are doing the right thing. Or you need to change and says, no, if I continue this way, insanity has been defined as doing the same thing and expecting different results. If I continue this way, then I'm not going to succeed in life. So let me end with this story so that you understand patience and pivoting in a simple way. You understand? Patient and pivoting in a simple way. In one of the books I read, it talked about a guy who is a car dealership, and he found out that recession was coming, and so in recession people do not buy cars. So patience will say, come to work every day, hoping that a miracle will happen. That's not the right thing to do in a recession. in a recession. That's not the right thing to do in a recession. And so what did the guy decide? They started and they started strategizing. What do we need to do so that we can still sell in a recession? That's pivoting. We need to do something different because the economy is showing that things are not working the way we would expect them to work. And so they decided, okay, so who are the kind of people that can buy the Lexus car that we want, that we have, that we sell? It's only the rich that can afford the Lexus. So where do we find the rich? They found out certain golf courses, clubs, and the rest. And what they do is that they took their cars, some of those cars for test drive, they took it to the dealer, they took it to the resorts, to the golf club, to those places where you meet the rich, and to tell them test drive the car. And when they test drove the car, wow, they fell in love. They did that for several weeks. And can I say this? The book said that they got their best result in a recession. They sold more cars in a recession simply because they decided to pivot. Now, somebody will say, were they lucky? No, they were not lucky. They changed, they pivoted, they did something different. And the things that they did differently gave them different results. So let me say this to you. If you don't like the result that you are seeing, remember that life is fair. If you don't like the result, the only two things you need to do. Number one here is that you need to ask yourself, am I doing the right thing? And so it's patience and yes, so you need to hold on and keep doing it. But even in holding on and keep doing things, you need to ask yourself, are there certain changes I need to make, which is pivoting? I need to know when to change. And the difference between successful people and failures is knowing when to pivot, even when you're holding on in patience. So you're trusting God, but you need to know when to pivot. David, I end with the example, you understand, wanted to kill Goliath, and he took the armor of Saul. And when he went with the armor of Saul, he said, I cannot go with this. Because if I go with this, Goliath will have an advantage and Goliath will kill me. What did he do? He pivoted. He removed the armor of Saul and he looked for stones. He pivoted. And so in success, you need to understand that life, the first belief system, it's difficult, it's hard. It goes against all the things that have believed before now. You understand that life is not, no. Life is not fair. You understand, but life is fair. It doesn't favor anybody. It doesn't it doesn't maltreat anybody. You understand, life is fair. And if life is fair, we need to take responsibility for our futures. That would take me to belief number 2, you understand, which I would teach and build on next week. I hope this episode was a blessing to you. I hope you learned one thing, 2 things. I hope there was something today in today's episode that you say would help you. You understand, something today in today's episode, you understand, that will help you. So what I want you to do is do me a favor, just like the page, and once we finish this, I will share it on my page. Do me a favor, share it to your friends, because I think a lot of people need to understand this belief that life is fair, and our results are a function of us in this path. For those of us that are religious, he said we'll stand before God to give account. Why would I give account if it's God that determines? It's me. And so next week, I want to not take this life is fair. I want to now build it on the second belief. And that second belief builds on this understanding that life is fair. If you don't like your results, you need to change something. And that's pointer number 2, which is the belief system. So thank you very much. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you for everybody who joined. You understand, from wherever you're joined. I want to say I appreciate that. Next week, make it a day with me again. Next week, this is maximizing your impact. My goal is over the next 6 to 7 weeks. Some 2 beliefs I might combine if they are related. Some I might take one. You understand. My wife will say it is better for us to learn one thing and one with one than learn 7 things that we cannot remember. Take it one at a time. God bless you. Have a great day and weekend.